All in Sports Network. We love sports.
The Kansas City Chiefs have made multiple roster moves here during the bye week. We talk about those roster moves. One of those they didn't even want to make, but a guy gets poached from the Chiefs practice squad. They sign back another defensive end. We talk about all the logistics from that. Plus, the Chiefs did not improve at the trade deadline. We know that. But the biggest problems, the running game and the defensive line, are they really that big of a deal, or are they just, simply put, not getting lucky? We talk about it here today on the show and bring up our Chiefs news roundup. Obviously, with the bye week, the players are not at the facility. There is not much going on in Kansas City. And so today, not a lot of news, but it's okay. There's a lot of things to cover from a couple of different roster moves and a tight look at the Chiefs' problems. So we're gonna do it like what we like to call a Chiefs news roundup day. Not one big story, but multiple small ones that we want to break down and want to talk to you here today about. As we welcome you into the Chiefs Report, a part of the Rogue Sports Media Network. We're happy you chose to spend your daily listen of the Chiefs podcast right here, and got so much to talk to you about. And we do this every day. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, make sure you follow us, hit that download button. That way, you're always getting your daily Chiefs news and knowing what's going on with Kansas City and in Chiefs Kingdom. Okay, a couple things we want to start off with is definitely the roster moves. Those are obviously the quote unquote biggest stories of the day. And we first start with one in which the Chiefs had a player get quote unquote poached. And in my opinion, for a player to get poached, he had to have been active on the roster and then sent down to the practice squad with the intention of bringing him back up. So I don't know that poached is the right word, but that's what the media is labeling this as. That's what the overwhelming theme of this is that this player was quote unquote poached from the Kansas City Chiefs. And so today, let's talk about it. Mike DeFabo talking about it. The Steelers are planning and now have signed defensive tackle Broderick Martin off the Chiefs practice squad per league sources. Pittsburgh has endured numerous injuries up front, including Daniel Akula and Dean Lowry. Martin will now have to spend a minimum of 3 weeks on the active roster. This stinks for a couple different reasons, and we'll kind of break it down here in a moment. But the first is that Broderick Martin is a very good player for the Kansas City Chiefs to have, simply because, well, he's 6'6" or 6'5", rather, 326 pounds. And while the overwhelming time he spent in Kansas City, practice squad, not really being that effective, I guess is the best thing, your defensive line is in an interesting spot. We know that with the injury to Omar Norman Lott, we know that there was no move made at the deadline. Their practice squad is always something that seems to come into play later on in the season. Mike Pennell's signing definitely helps out where you can worry about this move a little bit less. But if you looked at the practice squad a day ago, you'd probably expect to say that Broderick Martin, would be the guy the Chiefs would bring up if somebody were to be injured on the defensive line. Now you don't have that option. With that all to be said, I do, however, see this as not a insane of a big a deal because you were able to get Mike Pennell. And the benefit with practice squad and the benefit with guys who quote unquote haven't played with your team but have been on the roster, whether it be practice squad or even just sitting on the bench, is that they know the team well, right? And so when Omar Norman Lott got injured, the first thing the Chiefs did was look for help. And obviously, practice squad is an option because those guys have been with the team. But the Chiefs, again, got Mike Pennell, who spent 2023, 2024 with Kansas City. He is very much in tune with what Coach Spags wants. He's very much in tune with what is expected of him, and in a lot of ways, what the Chiefs are going to use him as. Because is he going to be a starter? No. Is he going to be a key rotational guy, especially down the stretch with how really enduring the body has, or the defensive tackle position is for the body, because it's not easy. It's really not easy. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how many reps you're able to do at the bench press. You being on the defensive line, getting down in that 3-point stance, attacking a quarterback, putting all you can into every single play, it's exhausting. And doing that week in and week out and basically going through a car crash each week is what some of these players describe playing as. And so having that depth is a huge thing. It stinks. Broderick Martin is definitely somebody that I really like to have on the practice squad, given his stature and in a lot of ways his ability from what I saw. But in the same light, because of the signing of Mike Pennel, because of how the defensive line is doing to some extent, at least health wise, you're going to be okay with it. Now, we'll talk later on how this defensive line is 100% an issue for the Kansas City Chiefs and 100% something that the Chiefs, I wouldn't say need to be concerned about, but need to be wary of as they end or inch closer to the end of the season. Obviously, they have probably the biggest 2-week stretch coming up after this bye week as they face off against Denver and they face off against Indianapolis. Those two are going to be some huge, huge games to watch out for. So, Broderick Martin, he is officially not on the Chiefs at all as he is signed to the active roster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, he will have to spend a minimum of 3 weeks on that active roster. That's just the protocol after you get signed in certain situations with the NFL. So he'll be on the Steelers for the next 3 weeks, and the Kansas City Chiefs will be without that depth piece in the defensive line area. However, that defensive line did get some bolstering up, and maybe not in the interior, but they did get some help in a different way as they got Malik Herring back. We can go and see from this headline on the article from, lost my words there. As we go in this article from UG Wire, actually, funny enough, it's from the University of Georgia, but the Kansas City Chiefs are signing former Georgia football defensive end. This is Malik Herring. I mean, I know they like to word stuff like this, and I mean, maybe I'm a victim of it too, but you get these things and you clear it, and it's like, well, what's this? Well, no, it's just Malik Herring, which I don't want to say just, obviously, defensive end, a guy who knows the system, a guy who he took that position on the practice squad for Broderick Martin. Malik Herring is an interesting case for me because if you were to ask me at the NFL trade deadline, I would 100% say that the defensive edge is what I cared about more. And that's what Malik Herring is. He's a defensive edge rusher. But for being on this team since 2022 and accumulating, 28 total tackles in his time here, I don't exactly see this as like some crazy move the Chiefs are so pumped, so excited about. But again, I think it goes back to my point with Mike Pennel. I think it goes back to the point that I made just a moment ago of the point of having practice squad members is so that down the stretch, when you need some extra bodies, especially in a position that is so physically demanding, you have a guy you can trust. And Malik Herring is one of those guys. The Chiefs obviously like him to continue to keep him around this squad. He was the one cut, obviously, a couple weeks ago. Now, or not a couple weeks, a week ago, when they signed Mike Pennel. Now they bring him back onto a practice squad signing, which is interesting to me because obviously he wasn't signed. He wasn't their first choice because they would have cut somebody off the practice squad to get Malik Herring back. Instead, it took Broderick Martin getting poached, taken over to the Pittsburgh Steelers to then have the Kansas City Chiefs say, okay, we are going to go get Malik Herring back. We're going to go sign him to our practice squad. And that way we can keep a guy we know on our staff. So it's kind of a weird way to look at it. And it shows how hard it is to be on a football roster. But Malik Herring truly got this spot because he's been on the Chiefs. And there might be some better free agents out there, but I don't know if they'd take the practice squad signing. I don't know if they would take a signing with a team that may or may not need them throughout the entire year, especially for what the pay they have. I mean, some of these guys have higher standards than some aspects, but Malik Herring is a guy you can trust. He's a guy who wants to be on this team. He's a guy that the Chiefs want to have on this team for all intents and purposes. So it's intriguing for sure. If you look at his PFF grade, which kind of shocking he even has one because technically he doesn't have enough snaps to truly have a PFF grade, but he does. 41.4. He's played in 6 snaps, which is not, but a 41.1 PFF grade is bottom of the barrel. The average PFF grade for defensive edge rusher in the NFL, I believe, is somewhere in the 60s, 70s area. So we're talking about a guy who not only is someone who didn't play much when he did play the PFF ranking, which, in my opinion, for defensive linemen and maybe some, honestly, in some aspects, most of the defense is the most important stat. Like sacks are big, pressure rate's good, all this stuff, but PFF just has such a solid model down of telling, is this player good? Is this player not good? And we have a known model that works and we'll trust it. And as of right here, we can see that P41.1 PFF grade is definitely not good. It's something that I would not want to have. But again, he's a depth piece. He's a guy that they cut. He's somebody that, in all reality, won't make a single play for the Chiefs. And I don't mean that in a bad light. I don't mean that in a light of like, oh, well, he's not going to mean much. No, he'll mean something in depth wise. He'll mean something that way. But I don't know to what extent that looks like. I don't know to be quite honest with you, I don't know when he comes into play. Like, is it when another injury happens? Is it when the playoffs come around? They need some extra bodies. That's where I could see him potentially coming up and being a let's call it threat. But we'll see what happens. I think there is something to note that the Chiefs do trust him. The Chiefs wanted him back. The Chiefs liked him enough to say, hey, sign with us, be on our practice squad. And so obviously a couple moves here are interesting, but kind of round out here. Broderick Martin has been signed off the Chiefs practice squad. He is now on the Pittsburgh Steelers on an active roster. He will have to spend at least 3 weeks there, so no chance to like sign him back if he's cut or anything. And then for the Kansas City Chiefs, they now had an open practice squad. They go out after signing Mike Pennell last week and cutting Malik Herring. They sign Malik Herring back on a practice squad deal. He's going to be a depth piece. He's going to be a guy who will help out with, I guess, in some ways, scout team and being the guy who represents a body of some sort of trying to, if you have a good edge rusher, like if you're playing the Raiders, you're going to try and use him maybe as a Max Crosby decoy, I guess. Like you can kind of see that in a lot of ways that the Chiefs, a lot of ways the NFL uses their scout players. So that's probably what he'll be. Obviously, he knows this team. He knows the facilities. That's a big reason why he got signed, is he knows it, and being on a practice squad. There's 3 things that help you get that signing. The first one is that you're malleable, meaning you can be used in multiple different positions. You can play on special teams. You can play on that. And the second is that you know the squad. You know what is needed. You know what is asked. And that can be the thing that you overwhelmingly use. So that's what we got here for this part of the show. We are going to talk about the Chiefs defense and the Chiefs running game and how exactly they are not as bad as some people think and bad in other lights. So we'll talk about the Chiefs' problems and what exactly they needed to fix them. That's all coming up here on the Chiefs Report, so don't go away.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open-source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Welcome back here to the Chiefs Report. We're talking about the two roster moves that have been made. Broderick Martin poached off the practice squad, signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers on the active roster. And in turn, the Chiefs make the move. They sign back Malik Herring, a defensive edge rusher who was cut last week after Mike Pennell's signing. He's back now on the practice squad. Those are the two moves the Chiefs have made today. Yesterday and today, I guess now, because Broderick was yesterday and Malik was today. But now we're going to talk about two of the, let's call it, rough patches of the Kansas City Chiefs. And if they truly are that rough, I want to start with the defensive line. We've talked so much about how it doesn't look like Chris Jones is in the same place. It doesn't look like George Karlaftis is in the same place. And Mike Denna and Derek Nottie just are, without Chris and George playing to elite level, they're not as good as well. And so what is the advanced statistics on this? What is the actual ability of all this? And so we have this interesting report here. And I'm just going to read you some of the Chiefs stats and kind of talk about why this has some positives for the Chiefs and why it's proving the Chiefs should have advanced that defensive line. The first biggest thing is the pressure rate and the non-blitz pressure rate. The Chiefs are top 10 in both those categories, and they're top 5 in the non-pressure blitz rate. This is good news, obviously. This is something we are happy about. This is something that I'm not going to say it's what we've seen on the field, because sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but they're getting pressure to the quarterback. They're getting in the backfield. The problem has been getting the quarterback down once you enter the backfield. The pressure rate is there. It's actually acting on the pressure rate, maybe is the best case scenario, best word for that, because pressure to sack rate is 21st in the NFL. Only 19.6% of the time are you getting pressure, active pressure, and sacking the quarterback. That includes the sack rate at 6.8%, which ranks them 15th. Plus, the pass rush win rate is down for the Kansas City Chiefs, 36%. That's 21st in the NFL. They do have the 10th most blitz rate. The concerning factors to me, the concerning pieces to me, is that you cannot blitz and you get pressure. You can blitz and you get pressure. You can do nothing and get pressure, but you don't get sacks off it. You don't actually take down the quarterback. And I don't know what's crazier to me, the fact that they have one of the best pressure rates in the NFL, yet their pressure to sack rate is one of the worst in the NFL, or the fact that out of all 32 teams, the Chiefs are 21st. Or how are there teams that are worse? How are there 11 teams that are worse than the Chiefs at that pressure sack rate? Because I can't tell you how many times this season, how many times in the Bills game, how many times in the Jaguars game, and the games you lose, obviously, they're more noticeable, but even against the Lions and other teams that you've beaten, you're getting in the backfield. That's not the problem. Mike Dan is getting there. Chris Jones, Karlaftis, they're getting in the backfield. But for whatever reason, they get in the backfield and it looks like they don't know, they're surprised they're there. They haven't been able to hold on to a quarterback. They almost seems like they have some sort of slippery substance. They got butterfingers on their hand. I don't know, because they're getting in the backfield. They're touching the quarterback. That sounds weird, but they're getting them, but they're not bringing them down. And that's where the problem comes in. So when you talk about the trade deadline and not getting a defensive pressure, a defensive edge rusher, a guy who can help out with sacks, and that's something that I said yesterday that needed to be addressed in the bye week changes, was getting sacks, actually taking down the quarterback, because you're getting in the backfield. It's the sack rate. That's the problem. The second thing that you have to notice from this is that surely with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and the defensive line that you have and trust, that percentage of sacks will go up in the pressure rate. You will be able to hold on to the quarterback more. You will be able to have a better instance with that. Now, does that mean that it's going to change this defensive line and change this defense and be what we need and what we expect out of them? No, not necessarily. It could. It for sure could. But I don't want to guarantee that, because that's something that is, well, a tough thing to actually predict. Even off the pressure rate, even off the sack rate, you can't really predict that. And I want to say that this pressure to sack rate is going to go up, and that number and their ranking is going to go higher. I want to say that their sack rate is going to go up overall. I want to say that their pass rush win rate will go up. But I've said it time and time again, the thing that is concerning to me about the Chiefs, it's not that they are not going to make the playoffs, or that they're going to make the playoffs and look poor. It's that they're going to make the playoffs and lose in a one-score game because they didn't make a move at the deadline, because they can't get back to the quarterback, because their running back room isn't to the level it needs to be, because you're going to face quarterbacks that are going to be able to run. You're going to face quarterbacks and teams that are going to be able to evade the pressure better. You're going to face quarterbacks and teams who are going to be able to use their offense betterly against you. Something you need to know. You're going to be able to face teams and their defense who are be able to better connect and shut down your run game and force Patrick Mahomes to play like a top-tier Patrick Mahomes and, not get coverage sacked. I mean, that Bills game was the scariest part, because that's the thing that some people can do to you, is you stop the run game, guess what? You're not going to have more. Now, Isaiah Pacheco, when he comes back, will hopefully be revamped. But again, an MCL injury is hard to come back from. Even if he does, he'll come back. But I don't know how similar he's going to look, or if he's going to look better or worse. That's something that I'm truly a bit worried about. But speaking of the run game, we have talked so much about how the Chiefs need to improve it. The Chiefs need to get better. The run game is a problem. But What's funny is we had this from Kansas City Sports Network. The Chiefs, they're tied for the most rushing first downs in the NFL. Them and the Giants each have 75 rushing first downs. Does this mean the rushing game is good? It's fixed. We're fine, everybody. It's all just a fugazi. No. No, it does not mean that. You're tied with the Giants. How are the Giants doing with their first downs? And how are they doing with their record? Not great. Rushing first downs are great. It's a stat that should be happily placed onto social media. But it's a demonstrative stat. And you can't look too much in depth to it because then it looks worse. Because if you're getting a lot of rushing first downs, it means you're not getting the big plays. It means you're not getting a lot of big plays and you're getting close to that first down marker and you're letting them rush through. If you look more in depth, it can somewhat be a bad thing. And I'm not saying it's a horrible thing, but it can be a bad thing for you where you are constantly having to have these long drives to try and score. You are constantly having to do these exuberant drives to score, and their rushing game is not getting these long breakaway runs, which is true. The rushing game is not getting long breakaway runs. The rushing game is not top tier. I mean, in any way possible, to not top tier. So, do I see the Chiefs' running game being fixed, being something that is reliable down the stretch? Hard to say. If Isaiah Pacheco can come back and look like Pop, not Pacheco, then I think they got a good shot. I think this team will be in a good spot. I think they'll understand what is needed from them. And overall, they can be, in a lot of ways, comfortable with whoever they face in the postseason. If Isaiah Pacheco comes back, and I said, with an MCL injury, it can sometimes be tough. If he comes back and it's a rough going, then that can be something that is a little rougher, a little harder to keep in the back of your mind that, okay, I guess they can compete with the top tier teams, but I don't know. We'll have to wait. We'll have to see. The biggest 2-week stretch of the Kansas City Chiefs is upcoming, though. The biggest 2-week stretch is upcoming because it is apparent that you are 5-4. It's apparent that playoffs are definitely there, but they're, for the first time in a while, somewhat of a question mark. And you have 2 of your toughest games coming up. You face Denver in Mile High in what is the top team or one of the top teams in the AFC, and then you go face the top team in the AFC in your own park, facing off against the Indianapolis Colts. The biggest 2-week stretch of the Chiefs. I'd argue the biggest 2-week stretch for the Chiefs in a very long time. If they're able to come out on top in 1 or 2 of those games, season's good. Season's saved, feeling good, feeling confident. If the Chiefs come out of this bye week and fall to Denver and then fall to Indianapolis at home, there will be a different tone about this team. Because right now, people still believe in the Chiefs. People still have them ranked as a top-tier team to reach the Super Bowl. You lose those 2 games, that changes the dichotomy of this team, the dynamic of this team. And that's a huge thing to watch. So we'll keep you updated. Got a show tomorrow, and then we'll have our bye week weekend. So we'll be back on Monday after that. But appreciate you watching. Appreciate you enjoying our show. Hopefully you can enjoy some of this during our bye week. And we appreciate you. We love you all and hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow for an end-of-week pod here on the Chiefs Report. Peace out, everybody.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.